Entry number 1, written by user/another throwaway 101. I paid a girl $7,000 every month to live with me and be my girlfriend, not safe for work. Our agreement ended just last week when she wanted to go back to college, and it lasted 5 months, but the countless post-nut clarities just hit now. God damn it. I need to tell somebody, and most people I know in real life will make fun of me. The girl was an online friend who dropped out of college and wanted to get back on her feet. She kept mentioning that she wanted to leave her family's house, but she had no money, and she couldn't trust the Craigslist ads. She straight up made me an offer. I think she knew I had a crush on her, and I just couldn't say no. I was a 29-year-old virgin at the time, and I'm not going to bore you with the reoccurring themes of the self-deprecation in this context, but I guess you get the gist. It was the first time I had the chance to get with a girl, and I make a lot of money, so I thought, why not? I'm not going to lie, I really did enjoy every second I spent with her, but alas, all good things must come to an end. We said our goodbyes last week, and I'm alone again. Entry number 2, written by user/throwaway. Being a Muslim girl in a predominantly Islamic country is sad. I'm fed up, but I can't do anything about it. I didn't think much of it growing up, but now that I've had some exposure, I realize that I'm missing out on a lot. Even the most basic things like wearing shorts outside on a sunny day. I'm privileged to be one of the girls raised in a relatively wealthy family, so my suffering wasn't as bad as the other girls here. I had a friend that was stitched, genitals sewed shut, and waited for her husband before she was opened up. I was meant to get married a few years back when I was 13 to a 50-year-old man because of my father's pride and arrogance. My sisters were the unlucky ones, and they were basically sold when they were 15 to a man they barely even knew. My mental health is all over the place, and I constantly seek approval from men for the littlest of things. I feel like I've been conditioned to believe that I'm inferior, and despite knowing the truth, I still feel like I can't do anything about it. I keep defending the same men who beat and mentally abuse me because it's the norm to obey your parents, and I hate it. My whole life has revolved around getting married. Every single mistake I make would hurt my chances of getting married to a wealthy man. I hate it. I feel guilty for even saying this because of how much my father has provided for me, but he routinely takes me to nearby towns to see how girls my age are suffering and starving, and to be honest, I'm grateful. I just wish I had a better life or some freedom like you guys in the West. Entry number 3. I don't know who wrote this, I think it was a throwaway. So, my roommate asked me to do her laundry for her, and I don't know if I can look at her the same way again, not safe for work. I just moved into my college dorm. I have a roommate. She stays inside most of the time and is usually on her laptop. But the few times we have talked, she was nice and funny. She wore the same clothes often, sometimes multiple days in a row. Ew. I assumed she was homesick and that the clothes had sentimental value. She also told me that she's scared to take showers because the setup is not very private. She never smelled, so I didn't worry about it. She asked me if I would be able to do it for her so she would have clean clothes when she came back. I reluctantly agreed. It's when I went to pick up her laundry basket that I noticed the smell. Everything smelled like sweat and BO. Some of her underwear was slightly crusted on the crotch. So it was slightly crusted on the crotch of the pants from wearing them so long. Part of me wants to check on her to make sure she's okay mentally, but at the same time, mentioning that I saw the state of her underwear is really creepy, especially since I've only known her for 2 weeks. What I saw feels like something I should have never seen. I don't know how I'm gonna look at her in the eye when she returns. Entry number 4. Written by yet another throwaway. My childhood friend who I grew up with confessed to be a pedophile. We are at the end of our 20s and finished university. We're already working for different companies. One day we were drunk and he openly told me that even though he has a girlfriend, he is sexually attracted to little girls. Not boys though. I really don't know how to deal with this. He even illegally possesses CP. He said that he would never touch or harm a child, but in my opinion, even possessing those videos just creates a market for those sick people. I really don't know what to do, and I really want to report him, but then I would probably destroy his life. Yeah, report that fucker, you idiot. This next entry, I put it in because it's a little wholesome, but entry number 5, written by user/do_kiwi. My husband is the smartest guy I know. He has a PhD in physics. He's a brilliant computational scientist. He picks up languages very easily. He's just the best. He reads a lot of tech articles, usually stuff about programming languages, and I love listening to him talk about it. Though to be honest, I don't follow 100%. but he gets so excited to talk about it that I get excited to listen. The thing is, whenever he goes on for a while, he ends up apologizing for talking too much. And I get that. I do the same thing since I have ADHD. But then he thanks me for listening. Even after a decade of marriage, he thanks me. He shouldn't thank me for doing the bare minimum. I always tell him that. But I think he got used to no one really being interested in the things he was interested in since he was younger. So he thinks that me wanting to talk to him is above and beyond. For instance, I was reading about Chernobyl a few weeks ago and asked him if he could explain nuclear energy and what went wrong. And he explained it amazingly. He talked for hours, then thanked me, even though he had been giving me the lesson. I don't know. I just hate that he didn't have a ton of people in his life to listen to him. He's really amazing and everyone should have seen that. Edit. For those of you who don't have people to listen to you, my messages are always open. I may not necessarily understand what you're talking about, but you can always message me and I'll try my best to listen. Such a nice lady. Entry number 6. Written by user/theshynerd. My husband will be forced into leaving me soon, and I'm relieved. Not safe for work. Warning, this might be a little long. I've been married to my husband for almost 1 year now. We are 35 and 37 years old. Known each other since we were in high school together. We always had an on and off fling ever since. My dream came true in December of 2020 when we finally had our chance together. And in November 2021, we got married. We have no children together, but I have a 4-year-old of my own from a previous relationship. December 28th, 2021. A month later, I went to find something on his Xbox and found a slew of porn. This is something that he banned from the very beginning of our relationship. It got worse. I was able to get into his email and his Facebook and his Instagram. He had been cheating on me for the entire year of our relationship, even up until our marriage, to the very day I found the porn. He begged and pleaded for me to stay, kept everything signed in for me, and I do regular checks and find nothing. But I do feel like he's gotten smarter about covering his tracks. Ever since that fateful day, his entire persona changed. He's gotten meaner. He's psychologically abusive towards me. He's got me scared to leave. His father is a very prominent attorney in my state and his mother works for Child Protective Services. Neither of them will listen to me and they always side with their son. 2 weeks ago, he flew off the handle and spanked my 4-year-old too hard. He left a very large bruise. 2 days later, she had an appointment with her doctor. Her father took her. They have reported it. My ex called the other day and my husband is being investigated for child abuse. This is twice in 1 month. The last time was because he had my 10 and 12-year-old working in the hot sun for punishment. I'm defenseless against this man. The police won't help me. The state won't help me. But this time, since my ex lives in a different state, we may be getting out of this. He will be banned from being around any children and have to register in a child abuse registry. He will be forced to leave the home. I am scared but relieved. We don't deserve this. I've thought of just taking my psych meds and ending it all. I hate this man with every breath that I take. He's already threatened to follow me anywhere I go using my social security number. I believe him. He scares me. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he will pay this time. Honestly, she doesn't seem too stable in this situation either. Entry number 7. Written by user/1QueenAlysane1. I think that I genuinely hate my daughter. I've written here before, but I can't find my post. I was married to a very abusive man when I was very young. He held me prisoner in my own home and abused me on a daily basis. One day, he just up and left me for another woman. It was like something answered my prayers. It was the first time in 15 years that I saw the outside of my home. I don't know why, but that sounds super exaggerated. But whatever, let's keep reading. I had 3 children with him. My sons were old enough to remember the abuse, but my daughter was only a couple of years old. We tried to shield her as much as we could from the truth, but she knew that he was abusive. Just not all the details. He contacted us 20 years later when he was terminally ill and he wanted to see his children. My sons refused, but my daughter went to see him. Her brothers were very distraught by it, but I told them to let her be. He died 6 months later. When my daughter was pregnant, she found out that it was a boy, and she told me that she was going to name him after her father. I fainted at the thought. I couldn't believe her. I begged her not to do it, but she just said that she was sorry, but she didn't have the same horrible picture of him that we had. And she insinuated that I've lied about her dad. He probably poisoned her mind. I didn't know what to do, and my son said that they didn't want anything to do with her anymore, But before that, without my knowledge, my sons met with her and her husband. They told them everything they remembered and everything they knew, all the abuse and imprisonment. Her answer was, "I'm sorry, but I don't give a shit. This is not my experience with him." I felt sick. The last time I saw her, when I tried to talk to her one last time, I was scared. I saw him looking back at me through her eyes, and I was that 18-year-old prisoner all over again. I knew I hated her then and there. She has given birth now, and she texted me a picture of her and her son. I deleted it before even seeing it. She has called and texted multiple times. Now she's saying I have turned her brothers against her. I did no such thing, but I am partially the reason why they don't speak to her. I'll admit that. Why don't I feel any guilt or horror that I hate my own child? I haven't admitted it to anyone because I'm disgusted with myself. Life sucks. I think it's entry number 8. Written by RockDong101. Today I pulled a 22-year-old rock out of my pee-pee. Not safe for work. First of all, I want to say the wildest thing that has ever happened to me. I am freaking out with relief, but have no one to tell besides my fiance. I had to tell someone, so I'm sharing it with you fine folks. Sorry for all the background info, but this has all gone unspoken of for most of my life, so I have to get it all out. When I, 30 male, was in the 3rd grade, way back in the year 2000, I fell at recess. I distinctly remember this because I was wearing whitey tighties. Thanks, Mom. And a bunch of rocks got stuck in my underwear and vacuum pressed into my balls and wiener for the better part of an afternoon. Being an idiot 8-year-old, I ignored it, forgot about it, and moved on with my day. Weeks later, I realized that one of those rocks has wedged itself within the skin of the underside of my penis. Uncircumcised, nice. I picked and pulled at it, but it hurt, and I couldn't get it out. I had a short show and tell session with my mom, where she tried to get it out for a second and told me to leave it alone. Anytime I have ever brought this up to anyone in my family, I was told that it wasn't a rock. Because why would there be a rock in my schlong? And to leave it alone. In high school, I started getting painful bumps on my little soldier. Alright. Teenage me was immediately convinced that the specific tuggers I was receiving from my at the time girlfriend had clearly given me an STD, and I was going to die. I went to the doctor, and he told me that they were cysts, pimples basically, and that they were inflamed, probably due to the 17-year-old gripping the life out of it every month. While he was pursuing my wares, so basically he was being diddled by the doctor to see what was wrong with his dick, I asked the doctor about the rock in my dick. He shrugged it off and said it was probably a cyst that he could remove. He said that he could remove all of my cysts with some numbing cream and a scalpel. That was a hard pass for me. So I've been living with my pet rock and the occasional cyst for 22 years now. That rock has been inside of me for twice as long as my daughter's been alive. The rock has been inside of me since Y2K. I have zero memories of my long john where the rock wasn't there. I have never had a sexual experience where I didn't have at least some slight discomfort because of this fucking thing rubbing up against the underside of my shaft from underneath my fucking skin. Today, I was doing some manscaping and self-grooming in hopes that my half-assed trim-up would woo my fiancé into loving me more. I like this guy. Then, I noticed that the rock was sticking out. When the rock first got wedged in there, it was halfway in my skin and halfway sticking out. After a year or so, it was totally covered by skin, and just a large, hard bump on my thing. I had convinced myself that it must not be a rock after all these years of ignoring it and being shrugged off by my doctor. But today, when I looked at it, it was sticking almost halfway out of my dick. I panicked. I want this thing out of me right now, right this fucking instant. I yelled for my fiancée and showed her. She knew about the rock, obviously. They've met. What do I do? Do I go to the hospital? Do I need to call my doctor tomorrow? Can we get it out now? It was sticking halfway out. It moved easily, but the wider portion of it was still well inside of me. I started messing with it, and it felt like with a good tug, it would come right out. I handed my fiancée some tweezers, and like the motherfucking trooper she is, she pulled that bitch right out. Instant relief. I can't even describe it. It didn't really hurt and there wasn't any blood, and I wish I could shout from the damn rooftops. TLDR. Rock got wedged in the underside of my weak knee when I was 8. And it's been there for 22 years, and today we pulled it out, and it was magical. Edit. Thank you for all the upvotes and awards. To those of you who think I'm making this up, I wish. Specifically to the guy who asked why I would have been in my whitey-tidies at recess. I was wearing them under my shorts, you fucking dork. It doesn't make much sense to me how I got lodged in there. Imagine getting a splinter, but it's a rock. Photo is in my profile. Not gonna post a picture of my Johnson on Reddit. But there is a little hole/scar there now. People are asking for size. You ever seen playground sand? Where it's sand, but it's really just a million tiny rocks? It's one of those. Also, this isn't a gross uncircumcised penis thing. It's circumcised, and it was just embedded into the underbelly. Edit 2. Electric Boogaloo. I'm not keeping the rock. I deleted the picture from my phone and PC as soon as I posted it. It's so fucking gross. I'm getting a lot of valid heat from my gross uncircumcised penis. Comment. I want to clarify, there is nothing wrong with being uncircumcised. I hear you, brother. I am not particularly fond of any penis. I know that my dick is gross. Every story I've ever heard about an uncircumcised penis has also been gross. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much if you are still watching, if you made it this far. Please give the video a like, subscribe, hit the bell. I'm trying to make this YouTube thing a career. I also wanted to bring up something I mentioned in my last video about my goal being 50 subscribers by the end of the year, and I take it back. My goal is 50 videos by the end of the year. Okay, I want to deserve the subs. I want to put in the work to be able to make this a career. So the content comes first. The content comes first. I think I said that right the first time, but I'm not sure. I'm kind of burnt out from reading all these stories and punching in, punching out, punching in, punching out. I will have a new video in a couple days. And use code Moises in the Fortnite item shop. I know we got some gamers here on YouTube, and it would really help me out. It's free to you, and it helps me out. Again, thank you for watching, and have a good night.